Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have some special guests here today. We were supposed to have a college prep event, but that ended up getting pushed to April of next year. But we thought it's still a great opportunity to kind of pick your brains while we have you. So we're doing this special Q&A session. So why don't we start with introductions? Maybe Coco, you can start?
Great. Hi, I'm Coco. I'm majoring. Oh, I go to UC San Diego. I'm majoring in cognitive science with a specialization in design and interaction, and I just finished my first year of college.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I go to USC. I currently finished my freshman year and going up to sophomore year studying in chemistry, and I'm more specialized in chemical nanoscience.
Okay, great. And again, my name is Shayna. I'm the development manager here at KFAM. And when I'm speaking of my experience, I will be talking about my experience at UCI. I graduated UCI with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Social Behavior with a double minor in Education and Sociology. But that was a very long time ago. I started college 1999. Okay, not the reaction I thought I was going to get, but okay. So I have a bunch of questions for you today. We'll try and get through as many as we can in an hour. But the first is going to be about college life and your expectations versus reality. Okay. So what were your expectations going into college and how did that compare to the reality of college? So whoever wants to jump in, feel free.
Yeah, I could start with my own expectations and reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up mostly watching like college movies or college like dramas where it kind of describes what college looking like, right? Like I kind of had that in my mind. Oh, it's gonna be always like party. It's always gonna be more easy to kind of reach out to people. But in contrast to that, in reality, I actually found harder to reach out to people, and there weren't that many fun party. I guess it could be because I'm like more introvert person, but based on my experience, I found it was much more harder to kind of meet people because after class, everyone just goes home, and everyone just goes to the dorm. Everyone has their own plans going on. So I found it was very hard to meet people compared to high school.
Interesting. How about you, Coco?
For me, I had a similar experience in terms of what I grew up watching, but doing research going into when I was deciding between schools, when I was doing my research on UCSD, I discovered that the nickname for my school is UC Socially Dead. So I sort
Never
of
heard that before.
had, yeah, it's more of a recent development.
Oh.
But I sort of had an expectation, and when I visited campus, you could see and you could tell that there was a semblance of a social life, but it wasn't nearly as, I guess, vibrant or lively as, for example, UCLA or maybe SDSU. My personal experience was that my freshman year, I definitely met a lot of people. I'm, unlike Alex, I'm an extrovert. And so I didn't really have a problem meeting people. But what I had difficulty with was finding times where everyone could actually hang out because we're on the quarter system and everything moves so quickly that after the first 2 weeks, it's just midterms until finals.
Right. Yeah. Actually, that's one of my questions I was going to ask is a lot of people might not know that different universities within California, they run on different systems. So there's schools that run on the quarter system, and then like USC, they run on the semester system. Was that something that you looked into before applying, or it was just like, whatever school, or you didn't even know about different systems?
I was not even planning on staying in California, so I just assumed that I'd be going to a semester school, considering that the UCs are primarily the main group of schools that have the quarter system. But honestly, I think it's better for me because it's so fast paced and I'm not the best with my time management. It forces me to actually do my assignments because there is no time for catch up. Like you
Right.
have to stay on top of everything.
Yeah. How about you?
I guess I have the different opinion about semester and quarter system. When I actually first applied and got into these different colleges, I also had like UC as an option, but I chose USC because it was a semester system, right? Because I had multiple friends and people who went to UC school or other quarter schools. They told me that it was really fast paced. So if you really had to focus in, you had to make sure you do everything on time, or else you will be like keep behind and behind. That's why I was kind of scared of that.
Mm.
And to kind of back it up, my high school was also semester system. So I was like, oh, it will be pretty familiar with high school, but with kind of different workload. So that's why I picked semester school.
Oh, okay, great. You actually looked into it. So I had no idea. I actually, so for undergrad, I went to UCI, which is a quarter system. I started grad school. I never finished it, but that was a semester. So I got a little taste of both. I'm like you, Coco, where I preferred the quarter system much better because semester just felt super long. Like it was like, oh, I have another month. And then it's already like too late. So I'm actually kind of curious. Do you have any older siblings, or are you the first one to go into college from your family?
Oh yeah, I'm the first one to go in
First,
college.
okay.
I have a stepsister, but she and I are the same grade, so she just finished her first year at Cornell.
Okay. So was there anyone that gave you advice about, like, before you went into college, like what to expect, or you just kind of learned it as you go?
I was the trial kid. My siblings, they're getting much more feedback from my dad now because he wants to do everything with them that he didn't do with me.
Okay. How about you, Alex?
Luckily, I had a lot of people who kind of gave me advice. For example,
Okay.
it was mostly like church community
Mm.
because they're mainly made out of people who graduated or already in church or already in
College.
college, right?
Uh-huh.
So they gave me like most of the advices.
Okay. Did you find it useful?
Yeah,
advice?
some of them was pretty useful.
Okay. I mean, I think the purpose why we're making this video as well is for a lot of times immigrant families, they send their kids off to college and either they don't know what to expect or the kids definitely don't know what to expect. So we're hoping that this can bridge a little gap in between, just kind of show them what little things to expect in college. Because even me, like even if your parents went to college, I'm sure it's much different now
Yeah.
compared to when they went. So yeah, so even if you have someone that went to college a long time ago, I'm sure it's very different. So we're hoping that this can help a lot of people kind of like get an idea of what to expect in college. Okay, so we're going to move on to academics and study habits. All right, so did you declare your major when you applied? Like you knew what you were going to study in college when you applied?
No.
No? So you declared it after you got in?
Well, I decided,
Mhm.
but I'm not too sure if that's still going to be my major going forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I applied everywhere as sociology, and then once I got in, I changed my mind and I said I was going to do environmental systems, but then I ended up going in undeclared, and now I'm cog sci. But that's still, as of right now, I could see a future career having to do with cog sci, but I'm not dead set on it.
Yeah, so I entered in undeclared as well, and I didn't declare my major until I think my second year. But even then, so I had a specific, I guess, career I was thinking, but I didn't find out till the very end that there was like a stipulation. So I wanted to become a school counselor, but at that time they wanted you to have teaching experience, which I was like, no, thank you. So now here I am doing events and talking on YouTube. So I think it's okay to keep changing your minds because as you're growing older, you change as a person as well. So yeah. Okay. So then going into college, it's the first time where you're really like on your own. You're responsible for you, right? Okay. So how did you approach? So I guess the question is, was it scary or did you really love having all that freedom?
Well, I don't know if my answer would help because I'm commuting actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So I'm basically just from home
Oh.
to school.
Okay.
So I don't
Go.
know.
I loved the freedom. I love it so much, and I don't think that many people would say, "Oh, I love the workload," but I like being in college because it allows me to have so much more freedom and autonomy compared to at home. So it was a little bit scary, and I did cry the first day after my dad left, but then I didn't cry after that. I was like, oh my God, like I can go places and I can hang out with people and I don't have to ask permission to leave my house.
Mhm.
It was so much fun, and I really do enjoy, how much freedom I have.
Great. Okay. So then I guess then since you're responsible for yourself, in the most part, then how do you manage your studying within all
Okay.
the other stuff?
So maybe I'm not the best person to ask this question, but the way that I study is it really depends on the class. So for me, math classes, because I went in and I took the whole calculus series, Calc 1 through 3, and I'm taking linear algebra in the fall. The way that I study math is I'll attend every lecture and I'll take notes. And then honestly, I wouldn't say I'm the strongest in math, but I did get good grades in all 3 of the quarters that I did take math because I would just do the homeworks and I would go to the office hours if I didn't understand math problems. And of course, everyone's experience is different, but for math, I like the studying approach because you're forced to do problems in terms of, at least for the classes that I took, for a homework grade, so you're already being forced to do the math, so it's just repetition. For my writing classes, well, I don't. For the first 3 quarters of the writing class I took, I didn't have to study, which I'm very grateful for because at UCSD there are different colleges, and depending on what college you end up in, which is not dependent on your major, you will have different writing requirements, and some other colleges have much more difficult writing requirements. Mine was very easy, so I okay, maybe don't listen to this advice, but I didn't really have to pay attention in class, and it was totally fine, and you could easily get an A in those classes.
Okay.
For the other classes, though, a lot of it is just the way that I process is not very time efficient, but I basically listen and lecture and then write down questions instead of taking notes. And then later I'll go back and rewatch the lecture because we have something called podcasts across, I believe it's across the UC system, but at least at UCSD, where it's recorded lecture and there's often transcripts. So I would rewatch the lecture and take notes on that. But it's basically you're doing twice the amount of work. So it's not the most efficient, but it ended up working.
Okay. How about you, Alex? How's your study habits, or how do you make sure you're staying on top of your schoolwork?
I think one or two advice that I could give is probably like other people might also know, but try to use like a lot of resources. One of the resources that is mainly open to students is AI, right? We have like ChatGPT, we have like all these different AIs. So if it's really hard for you to kind of reach out to professor because you're awkward or maybe you're not really like introvert, if you're really introvert, then I recommend you guys using a lot of AIs that help you to answer those questions or ask questions. So it can also help you. And then for a studying habit, I mostly just did all those practice exams or practice problems. I would just keep repeatedly doing them until I fully understand a question. And if I'm really stuck on, going back to my previous advice, I would use AI to ask, hey, how can I solve this? Or can you give me different variations of this question, but in more easier or less complicated ways? And I basically just do that over and over until I master those questions or those theories or problems.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought out AI because that is part of one of my questionings. But I guess before I get to that, then, are your classes mainly online, in person, both? I know after
yeah.
COVID, right? So,
I made sure to pick only in-person classes because I know if I pick online classes, I wouldn't be really focusing as much compared to in-person classes. So that's why I just picked in-person.
Yeah, same. I try to only actually winter quarter, one of the classes when you're on WebReg, which is what we use to select classes, it'll normally say either class or our class, and R stands for remote. But some classes don't disclose if they're partially on Zoom. And one of the classes I ended up switching out of it because they didn't disclose that it was going to be on Zoom, and it was like, I'm not going to be able to pay attention.
oh, interesting. So I guess that was one of my questions is like, are there certain kind of classes you avoid? Like, I guess for you, it would be online classes. So for me, I'm not a morning person. So I would try and avoid all 8 a.m. classes because I know I will not attend. So is that kind of something that you found that kind of work around, I guess, other than the in-person versus remote?
I think I have an opinion about 8 a.m. I actually took 8 a.m. last semester.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't that bad as what
Are you a
everyone was
morning
telling.
person though?
I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
But
You have more
it's-
discipline than I do then.
But the thing is, if you take morning classes, right, you have a whole entire afternoon or night onto yourself. So I thought it was like fair trade. So I think 8 a.m. wasn't that bad, except last 3 week of semester, I kind of slacked off and I was always late. But
Okay.
other than that, it was okay.
Okay.
I don't like 8 a.m.s, but I was required to take them for some of my gen eds because some classes are only offered a certain quarter.
Yeah.
And also, I just don't have the best enrollment times because I didn't enter with a lot of credits
Mm.
compared to my classmates who were already second or third year standings in terms of credits. And so I have a very awful enrollment time. So I actually had a class where I had an 8 a.m. I had an 8 a.m. lecture and I would have an 8 p.m. discussion for the same
Ugh.
class.
That's the worst.
So the idea that you can just section off your classes in just the afternoon or just the morning is ideal, but for me, it's not realistic.
Yeah, I agree. So actually, we're talking about general education classes. So normally, it's the first 2 years of college is where you complete all of your general ed, classes. Is that kind of true for you? It's still, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the
Okay.
standard that
Yeah.
our school have.
Okay, that's good to know that they still have that. So going back to AI then, so AI, it's everywhere. Everyone uses it. So then I guess I'm curious as to what your school's policies are on AI use. And I know there's tools to help you study, but as far as testing or writing, what are the rules?
My school for every professor has their own I guess thoughts that or like in the class syllabus they'll give the outline of how AI is allowed or not allowed to be used in class. For testing, for anything that is taken online, there will often be professors that if they're giving you an online class, they just tell you already that it's open book because they would rather you use your class notes than go to AI. But sometimes they can't really stop you. I know that there are lockdown browsers that certain professors use. I've only had to use it for my summer classes so far, but most of my classes have been in person. So
Interesting.
Yeah, similarly to that, we also have like syllabus, and most of the syllabus it says, hey, don't use AI or don't rely on too much. But when you actually go in person, surprisingly, like professors already acknowledge that we use AI anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, "I'll try to make sure you just use it to just learn and to kind of like absorb the idea of maybe if you're writing essay, idea of essay or what you want to talk about, but not just straight copy out it from it." And we also have like these apps or programs that detects if you have used AI or not. So I don't really recommend just straight copying off from it anyway because you might get detected.
So overall, do you think AI is helpful or it's more hurting?
Yeah, I think it is helpful.
Helpful.
in a very general sense, I have more of a controversial take that it's not helpful in addition to its environmental reasons, but also just because in general, I don't think society was prepared for something so powerful because a lot of people are already too dependent on the fact that they don't necessarily have to use critical thought in order to be part of functioning society. But in terms of education, I think it can be helpful. I have used it to explain concepts that my professor in a way that was different from my professor so I could have a better understanding. And when I've had absurdly long readings for class, like 100 pages more, I would use it to give me the main points so I could better understand and have a better idea of what I should be looking for going into the readings. But yeah, especially for writing assignments, don't do it.
That's interesting take. So then, okay, so, AI is only going to get better, bigger. Does that worry you for when you graduate? Do you think you would choose a different career path if that was the case?
Yeah, that was actually a lot of things that I also heard, especially from CS fields, because they're already AIs are advancing to a
Right.
point where they could already replace those interns or those beginning level programmers. So they're having a lot of concerns on whether like students should major in CS or not, or if they should go to a different field. But in my case, since I'm not a CS related like field or any field that is directly affected by AI, I think I'm pretty lucky in a
You're
way.
AI proof?
Yeah, but It could be different in the future. Maybe like they could overtake me and do a chem stuff or do a chem lab. But as right now, I think I'm on a safer level.
I think a lot of people who do my major want to go into graphic design and UI UX, and I do think that there's a large risk of AI have playing too much of a role, but I don't really see myself going into that. The work that I want to go into is more interpersonal and involves a lot of logistical stuff and talking with real people. So I feel like in that sense, it's not that my job is AI proof. It'll probably still be used, but it's just not as large of a concern as someone who's in data science or comp sci.
Okay, great. I mean, I guess you guys are lucky then. Okay, so then I know these days, getting a college degree sometimes just isn't enough. So is that the case? Is grad school a given these days? Like you have to go, or does it still depend on the field?
I think this might be a wild take, but I also agree with you the fact that now college degree isn't enough to get a job because there's so much high demand.
Right.
So I think what's more important is connection. Like if you know certain people, right? If you know a professor, they could put you onto a job opportunity that those papers or graduation things cannot give you.
Mhm.
So I think as you're in a college, it's really important for you to make that connections because in real life you wouldn't be able to just randomly see someone some famous professor or some scientist that did a lot of work for society.
Mhm.
So I think you should try to mainly focus on building that connection, but at the same time prioritize your grades so that way you don't get cut off.
Right. How about you, Coco?
I do not want to go to grad school. I do not want to spend hundreds of thousands more dollars, and I would rather not have another 4 years of school. I know that there are some majors where it's not the most feasible to get a job without going to grad school. So I made sure to choose a job that would have some viability in the job market straight out of college. But yeah, connections is definitely a big thing. And also just trying to get any experience, even if it's unpaid. I'm doing an unpaid internship right now, but I think that it'll be helpful. And then a lot of my friends who are um, pre-med, they're doing research with professors, or also you can do research with basically any professor. I have some friends who are doing research with their economics professors, and yeah.
Interesting. So you already have an internship. Wow. Is that because you wanted to do it, or you just felt like?
Well, so I just thought that I was going to be taking summer classes, which I am, but I thought that that's all I was going to be doing this summer. And then I came back home over spring break, and my dad was like, "Oh, how's the internship search going?" And I said, "What internship search?" Because I wasn't aware. It wasn't something that we had discussed explicitly. So then I began my search, and I was actually very lucky. I did not, in fact, use nepotism, but I went on Handshake, which is a job platform. It's sort of like Indeed or LinkedIn, but specifically for students.
Oh wow, I've never heard of it.
So I think it's a more recent thing, but people also can reach out to you like they do on LinkedIn. So I made my profile and I uploaded my resume. A lot of rejections, a lot of people who it was there were a lot of times where I submitted it. No, I was like, it's not gonna happen. But then I went through a couple rounds of interviews with different places, and then finally I landed at the one that I'm at now.
Oh wow, that's awesome. How about you, Alex? Any internships that you're looking into? When is a good time to start looking for internships?
As right now, I'm not too sure on whether I should stay on my major, so I haven't really fully discovered in an internship in a way. But to answer the second question of when is like best time, I think like early is the best time. Like when you get into a college and a freshman, I think even freshman is a great start because it's really important for you to kind of build resume, right? So if you only did internship at junior year for 1 year, it's not really strong as if you started in freshman year where you continued on doing it. It will be best for you to stay in that company or stay in that same internship for 4 years because that kind of strengthen your connection and strengthen that you have done something consistently rather just 1 year different, 1 year different. So I think early is the best time. Or even in high schools too.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. All right. So those are all my academic questions. We're going to move on to some fun stuff, social life and personal relationships. So, Alex, you mentioned that you are actually commuting.
Yeah.
How was that?
I think biggest reason I chose commuting was because I know I get my energy gets drained when I stay with people a lot.
Mm,
I like hanging out with people, but at the end of the day, I need my own space. I need my own thing to do. So that's why I chose to stay at home.
mhm.
And but there's also like negative side, right? Because I commute, there's not a lot of interactions with people or with students.
Yeah.
So I That was one of the reasons why I found out it was hard to meet people, but to kind of overcome that or to kind of be more socially outgoing, I decided to join like some clubs or I try my best to kind of stay in touch with my classmates because since I already seen them in like classes almost every day, I try to
Mhm.
do that. And I also kind of mostly stay in touch with my high school friends too.
Oh, okay. And then, Coco, I know you dormed. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that? Any roommate drama?
Choose your roommate wisely. It was okay. She's not an awful person.
Okay, so this is going to be online.
I know. She's not an awful person, but I will say we definitely did not get along, and there were a lot of things that came to light while we were living because she reached out to me and she asked me to be her roommate, and she
Wait,
was.
so did you guys know each other before?
No, I had posted on one of those like class of 28 pages on
Okay.
Instagram, and so she had reached out to me, and I would like to believe that I was very honest in terms of my habits and what time I go to bed and everything. And she was not, and I don't know if it was just because she just wanted to get a roommate,
Mm.
but we just did not really get along. So choose your roommates wisely.
Mm.
My suite mates, because the way that my dorm was that we had 2 bathrooms, like 2 sinks, 2 toilets, and 2 showers, or 4 sinks. And then it was 10 of us living in a suite, and then we had like a couch, and that was basically it.
Mhm.
So there were other people in my dorm that I just didn't live with as directly as my roommate, and they were nice. But otherwise, outside of my dorm, it is kind of difficult because I think in part I go to such a heavy STEM school,
Mm.
and a lot of students do not necessarily prioritize or don't have the time to prioritize social friendships and relationships because a lot of people are engineering students and they're computer science students and they have so much on their plate where it's just difficult to schedule any sort of activities that could be a weekly occurrence. I mean, you can meet people at the gym, but our gym is so small. For 36,000 undergraduate students, it is atrociously tiny. But honestly, the campus didn't feel too big. It didn't feel like there were 36,000 people, probably because there's also a good handful of commuters. But so sorry, I keep getting distracted. Socially, I did meet a lot of cool people. And like Alex, I joined clubs. I was in skate club, which is how I tore my meniscus. I also was in musicians club, and there were a couple other things that I dabbled in. But it is a good way to make friends. In addition to just, I sat next to so many random people in classes, and I would just get their Instagrams, and that's how I'd make friends too.
That's interesting. Okay, so then are you gonna dorm again? How does I don't know
Yeah,
how Husky
so
works.
the way that it works at UCSD is you get 2 years guaranteed of housing, regardless of whether you're a transfer or a freshman student. So I'm gonna be on campus again in an apartment, still with
Different roommate, I'm assuming.
different
roommate.
yes, different roommate. And I'm actually in a new building, which unfortunately has a worse view because I had an amazing view last year.
Uh-huh.
I had my view overlooked the beach,
Oh wow.
so it was just sunsets all the time, and I was on the highest floor. My view this year is going to be someone else's dorm window, but it's okay. It's okay because I'm not going to be with that roommate, so it's going to
Right.
be a much better experience. And everyone else in the suite is very nice that I've met. And then after the 2 years, I'll probably either try for on-campus housing. I might try to RA,
Mm.
or I'll just live off of campus, which the trolley system in San Diego is something I very much appreciate because the public transport is not bad at all, which is a big reason as to why I chose UCSD.
Great. So then, I guess going back then, so before you went into college, did you know a lot of people going in? Like you knew a lot of other students attending your particular school?
I think to answer that, I knew like a lot of people actually went to USC. For
Mm-hmm.
example, like my church people,
Mm-hmm.
like most of them went to USC or is going to USC.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, actually, yeah, other than that, it was just basically just church community where most of the people went to USC.
Okay. How about you?
There were actually 10 other people from my graduating class
Mhm.
that go to UCSD. But I was cordial with most of them, but I was only friends with a couple. But one of them that I didn't really know him. He and I actually ended up becoming really good friends during the school year. So it was nice because we actually ended up living in the same building.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to be able to see each other.
No. Great. So I'm sure there's a lot more new technology, whereas FaceTime, just texting, that it's easier to keep in touch with family, or well, you live with family, so that's that. But like with your high school friends, I know you mentioned you still hang out with a lot of your high school friends. Is that because of church, or like you still just regularly hang out with high school friends?
Oh, I still just regularly hang out with my high school friends.
Mm.
We're like really big in gym and like sports, so that's how we mainly like kind of form our meetup. Be like, hey, like on this day, would you guys be down to go, I don't know, play basketball or go to the gym and work
Mhm.
out or go to the beach? So I think those sharing a same hobby is a really big portion of
Mhm.
staying in touch with others, because that's how you easily form an interest and easily kind of meet up together and do activity together.
How about you, Coco? How do you maintain those relationships with family, with high school friends, or like how often did you go home?
I only went home over the major breaks. So November, which for us we only got 3 days, which is kind of mean. Winter break and then spring break, and then I went home for one weekend, but that was partially just to drop off some things before fully moving out. I kept in touch with my family basically, yeah, just by calling, FaceTiming, texting with my
Mhm.
younger siblings, and then my dad would check in a lot. And then with friends, I didn't really have a friend group in high school. I just have close one-on-one friendships. So we would text sometimes and catch up. And it wasn't a weekly or daily thing of texting. That's not the kind of friendships that I personally have with many people, but it's where we would call maybe like every 3 weeks or every month or so. Nothing scheduled, just that's when we found the time.
Mhm.
And it would take a couple of days. I would be like, oh, can you call tomorrow at 5? And my friend would be like, no, I have class then. Can you call in 2 days at 6? And I'd be like, no,
Mhm.
I have class then. But once it was scheduled, we would often call for hours and we just catch up on a bunch of different things that happened.
That's great. Do they go to school further away, or like?
One of my friends, she went to Riverside, and then another friend goes to Penn State, so there's also a time difference.
Yeah.
And then another friend goes to UCLA
Oh, okay.
and Berkeley and UIUC, so
Oh wow, all over the place.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's our social relationship part of the segment. We're going to move on to mental health and stress management. So, when you're feeling stress, what's your go to method for dealing with stress? Or do you not feel stress?
Hmm.
The way that I deal with stress, it depends on what type of stress. Sometimes I would low-key just like rot more, which would just make it worse. Um, but otherwise, sometimes doing work, even if someone is just like sitting there with me, someone that I like, not my roommate, but sorry, one of my friends, if they would just sit with me, then it would be, even if they were just on their phone, sort of body doubling is what it's called, then I would be able to get more focus in, and it would be like I could focus on my work and also have almost some sort of reassurance that I'm okay because my friend is there. And so their presence alone was comforting enough to sort of calm my nerves while I worked.
Interesting. So, even if you're not studying the same thing, as long as they're there, like you feel less stress.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even if they were literally napping and unconscious.
Interesting. Okay. How about you, Alex?
This kind of might be a hassle answer, because I still have to like kind of clear my mind, but just to kind of say that out, I get my most of the stress from like the assignments, right? From the schoolwork. And the bad habit that I have is that I often procrastinate and do the things at the very last moment, which
Mm-hmm.
gives me a lot of stress. For example, I remember there was this essay that I had to write. I think it was 15,000 word essay, 20,000 essay.
Wow.
I was procrastinating until the last day
Uh-huh.
and had to stay up whole night doing an essay. And I had so much stress, but actually that stress kind of drove me to finish my work. It gave me like new ideas because time was running out. I had to finish it somehow. So I was just writing whatever
Mm-hmm.
like was in my mind. So I think that way, stress kind of helped me out. But to kind of control that stress or to maintain it, I mostly just go out or sleep a lot. Because at least like when you're sleeping, you don't have to think about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just taking a rest or taking a break would be really beneficial for your mental health.
Okay. So then are there any small things that you do regularly to kind of keep your mental health in check?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know,
I
watch
just make sure
Netflix. I don't know.
I cannot stay inside for that long. Like I have to go outside my dorm and I have to interact with people. Like physically stepping outside of my building,
Mm-hmm.
that could calm me sometimes. I would recommend sleep. I don't really follow that advice. My sleep schedule has always been awful since like freshman year of high school. Even in the summer, I don't even get much sleep, which I don't even have an excuse. I just don't get that much sleep. But definitely get sleep if you can. And also sometimes just talking to people, it sort of can help ground you because I am saying this as someone who likes to talk to people and I am more extroverted, but I do think even from a biological standpoint, it's just human nature to seek comfort in others. And so even just talking to someone about your day or your new favorite movie or anything, even just I hate my assignment, I hate my professor,
Mm-hmm.
even that can be sort of calming on the nerves because there's someone there who's real and who's listening to you.
Interesting. How about you, Alex? Any small things you do regularly?
Any small thing? I think, yeah, it's similar to her like answer. Doing a physical activity helps you because it kind of makes your mind focus on that rather than all the assignments that you have missed or all the bad things that you have done. So basically, just doing exercise or anything that kind of moves your mind away from those stresses that you have is really helpful for me to do. And for me, since I like going to gym or I like playing sports, so whenever I feel stressed, I just hit one of my friend up and, hey, do you want to hit gym right now or do you want to play sports right now? And just move on.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to we're gonna move talking about tips, advice, or reflections. So what's something you wish more people told you about before starting college? If there was one thing that you wish, like I guess for Coco, it'd be choose your roommates wisely. Unless there's something else you
I need to think.
Alex, what's one thing you wish someone would have told you?
One thing. I don't know, just like small thing. Just before you take those classes, do your research. For example, do like a rate my professor or check their syllabuses that they give out
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like reading. So when I choose classes, I make sure those classes don't offer heavy readings.
Mm.
So I do my research prior to joining that class. Be like, oh, like what would be the workload like be, or what would the expectations be, or what would be the curve be. So I basically just do my research so that way I don't end up like regretting my choice and
Mhm.
wanting to like drop out of class and do a different one.
Right.
So
Do
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 research before.
professors post their syllabuses for you to just see? Like, how do you research that beforehand?
I think other people post the syllabus online. I don't
Gotcha.
think professors really post them online. So that's why I
Okay.
just kind of on Google search up class name and then syllabus.
Oh.
And it might pop up, it might not, but it's still good to take it.
Interesting. How about you, Coco? Anything other than the roommate thing?
I would say that a lot of people are lonelier than they let on, and not in a like depressing sense, but more that a lot of people will be open to random meetups and interactions than you'd think. Just because someone is in a friend group and just because you see them with people all the time doesn't mean that they're not open to making more connections. And there have been a lot of times where I've reached out to someone expecting them to be like, no, like I'm too busy or something, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally down to hang out. And then when we actually hang out for the first time, I will learn that they don't have as many friends as it might seem on social media, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get a lot of FOMO seeing people's stories and everyone's always hanging out. But then you talk with the people in real life and it's not as glamorous. And it is to say that people are trying to be deceptive intentionally. It's just more that you can make friends and not really, like, if anyone is going to shame you for trying to be friends with them, they're not worth your time. So most people are not going to be like that, and most people will be open to wanting to be friends.
Okay, great. So then, what's your college survival tip for incoming freshmen? What's a tip you would give an incoming freshman?
Don't stick to one friend group. I entered with a sort of friend group. I knew that it would dissipate shortly after, simply because the thing that had connected us was not going to last very long. But I know that there were some people who remained in that friend group for longer, and it did not bode well for them. They ended up regretting how long they stayed. And it's not like high school, it's not nearly as cliquey. There's so many people. I mean, it depends where you go, but at a school with 36,000 undergraduates, you are not going to know everyone. And so you are more free to be who you want to be, and you will have an easier time finding people who will want you for you as opposed to what you can do for them. But also watch out for people who only want you for what you can do for them, because there's so many different types of people. And I'm friends with people that if you had told me a year ago, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Or even trying new things. I would never have expected to try skateboarding. I also never expected I'd get knee surgery, but I never expected to try skateboarding. And then I tried it, and I made so many new friends that way.
Oh,
So.
awesome. How about you, Alex? Any survival tips?
Survival tip?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about it's survival, but just in general, tip would be just if you're interested in something, just try it, especially in freshman year. Because a lot of people say freshman year is like a experimenting year, right? Where you try out different things. Me personally, I don't think I've really followed that like advice. I just did whatever thing that they told me. So if you're interested in something, just always try it out, because moving forward, you would not really have that much time to try things out. For example, if you're interested in, I don't know, like engineering or swimming, try out join the team or try joining like those clubs, because it helps you to kind of see what you're really interested in, and it might even help out to decide what you want to do in the future.
Okay, great. So I think we're going to close out, but I'm going to close out with some more fun questions. So how do you like your campus? Is USC kind of, I know you guys are by,
Like downtown.
yeah, like, so are you kind of separated? Are your campuses separated? Or is it kind of condensed?
Like separated from downtown, or like
Or
the whole
just from
campus?
each other? 'Cause
Oh,
I don't
from
know how
each
the
other,
USC
okay.
campus actually works.
We actually, all the campuses are condensed to one
Okay.
area. So luckily, I don't have to walk around super far. So I like my campus because I like small. It's very convenient, and we also have USC Village. So if you need something, like if you had to stop by Target to buy some, I don't know, like utensils or something like that, you could always just go to Village and buy things that you need. It's very convenient.
Yeah, I mean, you have the beach,
The
but
beach
do you
is
go
really
beach often?
nice. I don't really go to the beach during the day, because the beach that's walkable, everywhere else you can take a bus or drive, but the beach that's closest to us is actually a nude beach. So I only go at night because I would rather not see that kind of stuff. But
It's an actual nude beach?
yeah, it's a nudist
No, in
beach.
San Diego?
Yeah. It's mostly old people.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. I have a couple friends who went down there not knowing, and they're traumatized.
No, okay.
But besides that, I do think the campus is, I didn't really tour many campuses, so I don't have many comparisons, but my other friends are always like, oh my God, your campus is so huge. I think it's an adequate size. You do sometimes have to speed walk or run to your classes because there's 10-minute blocks in between. And sometimes it isn't feasible without a scooter. So I try to plan my classes somewhat accordingly to how far they will be from each other. But I do like it. I do think that there's different types of buildings. And of course, the iconic Geisel Library with that, I don't even know, it's like a little weird shape. It's like a little alien thing. And so I do like the architecture, and the climate is pretty nice too. It's pretty moderate because it is San Diego. And of course, the beach and the sunsets, they're gorgeous.
Okay. So then how's the food on campus or dorms? Overall, how's the food?
I think our food is very average, because I thought since it's like private school, the
Yeah.
food would be like really amazing, like it's
Uh-huh.
money worth. But no, it's not money. I mean, well, you get free food, not even free food.
Because
Like, you're just getting
you're paying
food,
for it, right?
but
Yeah.
I think it's because some days they be giving out some bad foods that you don't want
Uh-huh.
to eat, but some day they actually have a good food. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm kind of jealous of UCLA because I saw their restaurants were pretty nice.
Okay. How about you, Coco? How's the food at SD?
Our food is so overpriced and it's so mid because the way that it works at our school, which is I think again in the minority in terms of systems, we use we have Triton Cash and then we have dining dollars. So dining dollars you can only spend on food whether it's in the markets. Like we have sort of an Amazon Fresh setup across campus, but then for the dining halls, you pay not by swipes, but like for example, 8.50, 10.50, and it's always overpriced for the amount that you get. And a lot of my friends that are guys, especially the ones who are athletes, they'll often order 2 or 3 different entrees
Oh wow.
in order to actually be a substantial amount of food. Like at school, I never feel full ever because there's not enough food to make me feel full.
That's so interesting. Because I was going to ask, is freshman 15 still a thing?
I think it depends on campus. Okay, I low key got maybe like freshman 5 or freshman 10, but that was mostly due to my mental health and also my injuries and not being able to continue to work out. But at the beginning, I was losing a lot of weight because the food was not that good and because the portions are really absurdly small for the price.
Wow. When I was a freshman, and I didn't eat in the dining halls a lot because it was always the same like American food, like salad, pizza, burgers. And so we actually cooked a lot in our dorm rooms. But yeah, it was never it was always an overabundance of food. And so I think a lot of people gained weight. That's interesting that you say it's not enough food now.
If we were on meal swipes, I totally would have gained more weight.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah?
gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then are there any fun activities for freshmen that you recommend attending? So before I started UCI, the week prior to classes starting, we always had a freshman week.
Mhm.
Is that kind of something that you guys have as well?
Oh yeah, we have
Yeah.
something like Welcome Week.
Welcome week, yeah.
Yeah, we have Welcome Week too. You should go to all the events that you can because even if the friendships don't last, it's always good to meet people. I will never turn down meeting someone new. So, and there's also like there's a pool party. There was a pool party, there was a beach day, there were different activities and it was pretty fun. So, if you can go to those, I would suggest doing so.
Okay, great. How about you, Alex? Are there any like freshman specific activities that USC puts on?
Our school is really known for like football and like sports, right? So
right.
if you're really interested in those sports or watching those sports, I recommend you going to one of those games because I think for one of the welcome weeks, they actually do discount for students.
Oh, wow.
So you could always like go watch the games and there's a season pass that you could buy and it allows you to go all the games. So
Okay.
What's
Have
that
you
game?
been to a USC football game?
oh yeah, I went to one football game.
Oh, yeah? How'd you
Yeah.
like it?
Well, I'm not really a big fan of football, so
Okay. I guess that answered my question. Okay. All right. Last question is going to be, what's your guilty pleasure in college life?
guilty pleasure.
Yeah. So when I attended UCI, our dorm mates and we would get together. And this is a very long time ago, mind you, but we would always get together Wednesday nights and we would watch Dawson's Creek and then Felicity. And that was just we just knew every Wednesday we were just all getting together and watching those two shows. Is that or like whatever it could be for you guys, a guilty pleasure? Like midnight snacks, I don't know.
I would always call my friend Zach, who lived on my floor, and I would text him because Sunday through Thursday, the markets are open 24/7 because it's walk-in like Amazon Fresh. And I'd be like, do you want to go? Do you want to go to the market? Do you want to get food? Do you want to get ice cream? So we'd always just go, and it was literally be that. It was because my building was super close to the nearest market, and so we would go down the elevator, and it would be like a 10-minute trip total, and we just talk and like update it. It wasn't an everyday thing, but he never asked me to go because he didn't really like. He always had food in his dorm, but I was the one who, because he ended up his roommate ended up moving out early into the year, so he had a double but was the only person in there. So he had a lot of extra storage. So I would just ask him whenever I wanted to. I was like, do you want to go? And he was like, okay. So I'd just go and talk. And then we go back to our dorms and be like, okay, good night.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Alex, do you have any guilty pleasures that you like to do now that you're in college?
Going to beach. Yeah,
Okay.
cause
That's something you didn't do before a lot?
no, not really. Cause since we're in a college, everyone is more free and everyone got a car and stuff, right?
Mhm.
So we've been recently going out to a lot of beaches. Like we went to Santa Monica, we went to
Mhm.
Long Beach, like all these different beaches. So we're
Mhm.
kind of doing a tour around LA,
Mm.
checking on all the beaches. I
Okay.
like Malibu.
Yeah, Malibu's nice. How's the parking at USC?
See, like, I don't know, it's really bad. Like, you have to pay. But the good side is that if you park at USC Village,
Uh-huh.
first 2 hours free.
Oh,
So if you're planning to visit USC or like Village, just park at the Village.
oh, interesting. You don't have to purchase anything?
No, first 2 hours just free.
Oh, wow. Good to know. Okay. Well, that's all my questions that I had. I hope you guys had a good time reminiscing about your first year or two of college. I'm hoping that you'll have a lot more fun as you go on. College was the best time of my life. I stayed there 5 years. I didn't want to leave. Yeah, so my advice would be enjoy it while you can. You're young, you know. So thank you for joining us. Look out for our future YouTube lives on our YouTube channel. Thank you.